Hello and welcome to a recap of possibly the best movie I've ever watched, which is Liar Liar Vampire, aka the Nickelodeon Twilight ripoff. And shouldn't every studio have a Twilight ripoff? That's what I'm feeling because obviously this movie was crafted out of the success of Twilight. Because who wouldn't capitalize on that? It would be Nickelodeon. But also starring the absolute icon, Rahart Adams, who was in Every Which Way, which is a video that will come out not very soon because I still haven't finished the show. But just think about it in the near future, she just has to finish season 3, 4, and then the spinoff. But she'll get there eventually. Obviously, this movie's title plays on the Liar Liar Pants on Fire thing, but don't confuse it with the Bradley Stephen Perry Disney XD original movie of Pants on Fire. They're not the same thing, guys. See, when I said this was a Twilight ripoff, I was not joking because we start this movie with a intro of our main character narrating like Bella Swan. It shows a sign that says they are in Forksley. But my question is, are they in Washington? We are introduced to our main character, Davis Pell. He's serving Selena Gomez's real name. And something about Davis is that he does not have any friends because he moves so often because his mom moves around for work. And so he never makes friends in the places where he lives. And so he is constantly making fun for himself, aka he imagines fights that he does in real life. I'm talking like he fake fights air and pretends that someone is there in his head. I'm talking in public too. This is not just in the comfort of his own home, in public. And this is what the first scene is: him outside of his new house fighting a random ninja in his yard. But only he can see the ninja, obviously. So he is serving schizophrenic LARPer. But his neighbor sees him and she is obviously weirded out by this random man fighting no one. But she plays into it and tends to shoot someone for him. And then they make a Hunger Games reference. I think this movie was made especially for me, guys. They did all of my middle school obsessions right now. When his neighbor sees him, she is sitting on her porch reading. What book is she reading? Twilight Eclipse, baby. She is reading in every single scene in the beginning of this movie. I will let you know every single book that she reads. And his neighbor is played by absolute icon Brett Bassinger. That's why I thought that this shirt was the correct decision for the video today. After this awkward encounter, he does indeed go home and he lore dumps to the audience about how he has a kaleidoscope collection because his mom buys him kaleidoscopes every time they move town. To say the least, he has over 20,000, aka he just really likes chaperone. And then he has to go to his first day of school. He's very against this because he doesn't like new schools a lot. And of course, it is raining because they're in Forksley. His mom makes him wear a special first day sweater, which is very ugly and very much too small for him. They make a joke that his grandma knit it for him, but she's legally blind, and I find that hilarious. But I forgot to mention this, Hart Adams is literally Australian in every role he has, so he's also Australian here. Canonically came from Australia to Forksley, wherever it is. I don't think they have a state. I didn't look for one either. When walking into school, he immediately sees the most popular girl in the school who has a blog, and he immediately falls in love with her because, of course, he does. Her name is Caitlin, and her blog is getting a little bit boring for her, and so she wants a new story that will interest everyone and also herself. And Davis is already late to his first class because he low-key took him forever to get a schedule. He takes off his sweater in the hallway because he's like, oh, I'm getting off this fugly sweater right now. And he low-key gets fucked up while doing so. His hair, a mess. His hair literally sticking straight up. He walks into class, everyone's like, oh, who's this new guy? Why does he look like that? And Caitlin is into it. Also, she has a boyfriend. She has a jock boyfriend. His neighbor's name is V. She does not have a last name nor a full name, so her name is just V. I didn't know her name for, I think, most of the movie until the end when he said it. In my notes, she is just neighbor girl, but I'll call her by her name because she deserves that at least. V is reading a philosopher that I cannot pronounce. I like to mention that they are doing a lesson in this class and she's casually reading philosophy, not paying attention. And I love that for her. Caitlin and her friends are very Heather's coded, as in they're a group of three. They all have coordinated colors. So go them, I guess. Caitlin is trying to get a read on the new kid, aka Davis, because she's interested in maybe him being a new topic for the blog. And when she's trying to look if he's following her, because she knows that he's in love with her because he's not very subtle about it, to say the least, she doesn't see him in the mirror because he keeps tying his shoe every time that she looks. So now she thinks that he doesn't show up in a mirror. Caitlin's jock boyfriend, whose name I forgot, goes to threaten Davis about getting near his girlfriend. And on the way out of this encounter, Davis comically slips on a banana peel and doesn't slip upward. He doesn't slip. No, he goes on one foot across the hallway. Caitlin thinks that he super sped across the hallway. And then by now, she's gone to her friend. She said, I think that this guy's a vampire. I'm pretty positive. Because she probably read Twilight and was like, there's definitely vampires in real life, guys. And to test this, she's like, oh, vampires can't have garlic near them. I'm gonna go try and feed him garlic pizza. And a little fun thing about Davis is that he has every allergy under the book, aka he cannot eat bread, he cannot eat milk, all that. He literally all he has in his lunch, carrots. Just carrots. Real nutritious. Love that for him. But she tries to give him garlic pizza. He says, no, can't eat that. I'm allergic actually. And then runs away because she's trying to force feed him. Very scared. She's now convinced that he's a vampire because he's showing all the signs apparently. And also at lunch, V is reading another philosopher which I also cannot pronounce. At this point, Caitlyn's jock boyfriend is very pissed that she is more interested in the new guy than him, and so they try and bully him by wrapping him up in a poster, like leaving him stuck in it. But then he's right next to a window when this happens. When he gets the poster off, all the glitter gets onto his body, and also he has to take off his shirt, I do believe, to like get off the poster. And so he is shirtless in the hallway next to a window. The light is shining on him, and he's glittering because there's glitter on his skin. That's pretty good. I'll give it that. Like, if I saw that in the hallway, I'd be like, oh yeah, so you are Edward Cullen. I see that. Yeah. Then I think breaks up with her jock boyfriend, but then takes Davis out to the forest and does the whole reenacting of the I know what you are, that scene in Twilight.
I know what you are.
You do?
Yes, I do. Say it.
He's very confused because he's like, I have no idea what this convo is, where this convo is going. And then she says, oh, you're a vampire. And he goes, yeah, I am. Because he wants to be popular now.
Popular. You're gonna be popular.
With this new move, he's like, I want to be popular in high school now, and I want to date this girl. And so he just says that he's a vampire. He lies. And then she quickly says this on her blog, and so now he's famous in school for being a vampire. And then when he goes back to his house, V is there, and she immediately clocks his shit and says, yeah, you're not a vampire. I know that for sure. Just because everyone looks stupid and believing it, I'm going to help you pretend to be a vampire because I think it's funny. At this point in time, he is researching how to look like a vampire because he wants to keep it accurate or whatever, and he has a Twilight poster in his room. I call some bullshit. Also, there's this great reaction photo that I found on Google from Hit the Scene. When she is giving advice on how to become a vampire and like when she says she'll help him, she literally calls him Edward Cullen by name. What copyright infringement can we just live on? I feel like logos have been in it. We've mentioned Twilight by name. Like, what is going on? He gets fake fangs and also contacts, so his eyes change color. She uses a motorcycle outside of the school window to make it look like he's flying. I assume he's supposed to be like hovering because it's not like he's like flying in the air. No, he's just like hovering like slightly above ground, so it looks like he's flying. On Caitlyn's blog, she's doing interviews with her new vampire boyfriend because they're now dating. And this is when V starts to show a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of sadness. And so we've already got the inkling she is in love with him. And at this point, Caitlyn's now ex-boyfriend is contacting some of his teammates, like random uncle who is supposed to be like a vampire hunter. He's looking for that to kill Davis. And this man's uncle claims he's an expert because he's seen Van Helsing 47 times. I don't remember the guy's name who is like the vampire hunter, so I'm gonna call him the vampire guy. He assaults a random boy in school because he thinks it's Davis, and he's dumping like some like anti-vampire water on him. So it's a random boy, it's not even Davis, and he just thinks it is. Also, this movie just kind of like happens in like montages, and so there's no like distinct days. It just kind of like goes along. So imagine these happening just like in different scenes that are not connected to each other necessarily. So Davis goes back home with V, and they're talking about his kaleidoscopes, of course. And he talks about how he always has to move because of his mom, but he does it for his mom because he loves his mom. And this is the night before the dance, which V is not going to because she doesn't want to, and Davis is going with Caitlyn, obviously, and I'm pretty sure it's called the Sweetheart Dance. Since it's the night before the dance, he goes, yeah, I actually have a confession. I don't know how to slow dance. And so she teaches him, even though they're not together, and they are indeed flirting in his bedroom, even though he has a girlfriend. Even though V says she's not going, she eventually does go because she wants to go support Davis because him and Caitlyn are running for Mr. and Miss Sweetheart. So they do win. But when this happens, V gets sad and is serving 2015 main character and leaves the dance all distraught. He does his slow dance once he wins Mr. Sweetheart. Also, he does not see V there at all. He does not care about that. Then they create a little dance circle and he does this fuck ass dance that's really stupid. And sadly, this will come back. Everyone eats it up as well. This is the worst dance I've ever seen. I literally wanted to turn off my screen when I saw it, and yet everyone eats it up. They're like, oh my god, he's such a good dancer. No, he isn't. Put a pin in this for later, but there's a random plot thread of someone filming Davis everywhere he goes. Caitlyn and Davis are talking one day, and some miscommunication happens, and now Caitlyn is telling everyone that Davis is going to turn her into a vampire as well. So he's like, oh, so I can't do that actually because I'm not a vampire, but he can't tell her that because he's kind of been riding on this lie for a while now. And then at this point, V talks to him in the library because they meet in secret because she's not popular and she doesn't want to sell their secret that they're faking it together or whatever. And then she's like, just tell everyone at this point. Like, this is getting too far. She literally thinks that you're going to turn her into a vampire. And he's like, I can't. Like, this is all my popularity rides on. And she's like, it doesn't matter. And then she says that she's not helping him anymore because it's not funny anymore. And also because she is sad that she is not dating him and Caitlyn is instead. He also says, like, you're just jealous. And then she's like, of Caitlyn? And he's like, no, why would you be jealous of Caitlyn? And she's like, oh, no reason. And he says that she's jealous of him because he's popular. And she's like, don't give a fuck about that. Literally, I do not care. Davis is like, oh, I'm just going to go to Caitlyn's house and tell her the truth. And so when he does this, they go out to the pool and she like has this whole thing set up where it's like vampire-esque decorations. And then he's like, to tell her. And then he sees a bunch of people in the bushes waiting for it to happen. And he's like, okay, so there's random people in your bushes, and she's like, yeah, they're here for the show, and he's like, I gotta go inside actually. He gets ketchup and is planning to fake bite her and then just add ketchup. And then when he does this fake bite or whatever, they immediately clock his shit because for one, her skin isn't broken, and she's like, I don't feel any different. And then someone just like checks and it's like, yeah, that's definitely ketchup. And so Loki gets his shit rocked, aka he gets punched in the face. I think he gets punched in the face by like either some random guy or from the jock boyfriend. I actually don't know. And the vampire guy is also here, and he thinks that he's using this as a distraction technique to hide the fact that he's actually a vampire. And no one else believes us. Everyone's like, no, he's just faking that he's a vampire for attention. And he's like, no, this is a distraction technique. He's a real vampire. I'm gonna get him. And then when he gets home, all distraught because he lost his popularity and his girlfriend all in one night, his mom has a little heart to heart with him about moving all the time and how it's hard on him. And they also talk about his kaleidoscopes because when the fuck are we not talking about his kaleidoscopes? This is literally all he has. And through this conversation, he realizes that he's actually in love with V and has been the whole time. And then he takes it upon himself that he was like, oh, the thing I did was actually wrong. I'm gonna go apologize to Caitlin for lying to her our whole entire relationship. And when he does so, he calls himself a goon. Like, okay, here's where we pick up the plot thread of someone filming him the entire time. This random guy who just carries a camera for Caitlin all the time gives him a flash drive and says, you should look at this. It's really important. And he goes, okay. And then Davis does not tell us what's on the drive, but he tells us that it's going to change everything. And then he says that he has a plan, and it's surrounding the carnival that's coming up tonight. His first order of business is to get back on good terms with V, because that's the most important thing in his mind. He gives her a kaleidoscope and a little note that says, like, I'm so sorry for what I did. Also, it's Halloween. That's why the carnival is happening. So she is serving fuck ass Bob. Also in the note, he says, like, you made my life so much better. But you just moved here. In the carnival, they have like a viewing room for like a specific movie that they're gonna play. And then he plays the flash drive that he got, which has all the footage of Caitlin saying that she knew the vampire thing was fake the entire time. It was just doing it to fool the student body because they're all stupid. And she's like, this is propaganda. This is not real. And everyone's like, oh, so you're a bitch. And they're like booing her on stage. She's like crying. And then Davis has a moment of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be this mean. He clocks them all and says, bitch, this is literally high school. Like, y'all are acting so weird for high school. For one, you thought I was a vampire. For two, you're being so rude to this girl for literally just saying that you were stupid. And they're all preaching peace and love now. They're like, okay, like, whatever, we'll put this behind us. But then the vampire guy comes into the auditorium with a kidnapped V tied up. And Davis is like, what the fuck? Davis takes his LARPing skills, of course, when he fought imaginary guys to fight vampire guy in real life. And of course, he's not an actual vampire. He's still more athletic than vampire guy because he's like a 16-year-old boy. And then earlier in this movie, him and V made a joke that if you beat a vampire in a staring contest, then you make them powerless. Then Davis says, oh, if you really want to fight me, let's have a staring contest. And so they have a very drawn out staring contest that lasts so long. I think Davis wins in the end. And so he's like, oh, I get to keep my powers. And then vampire guy is like, okay, you seem like a good guy, so it's fine. But you were literally trying to kill him earlier. You had wooden sticks and everything, and you kidnapped someone. You cannot kidnap someone and then just like be like, oh, it's okay, you're a good guy. Davis obviously has to go untie V, and then they kiss. That literally had something, didn't it? Because she was literally pissed at him like 20 minutes ago. They were low key flirting the entire time, so like I can see it. At the same time, like they did kiss when she was tied up. I'm not even gonna lie. That's kind of crazy. I don't know if they established that they're like boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but they get together, they kiss, and then immediately after, he does his fuck ass dance again because music starts playing. You're actually joking. You just got a girlfriend and you're doing that in front of her? See, I would get the ick and run away. Even if it was your heart Adams, I would get the ick and run away. That's a lie. He's like a cutie in this movie, so I wouldn't. But I would keep my distance and be like, I will break up with you if you do that again. I would set my boundaries. At the end of the movie, in his little voiceover thing, he says, all I needed to learn though that people liked the real Davis. No one did. They only liked you because you were fucking a vampire. That would be a different movie. Oh my god. Since he was acting like a vampire, no one liked him because he was like lying about it. Like that was the real Davis. I'm sorry. You're literally lying to yourself. Even though I have a lot of issues with this movie, I kind of love it. I kind of love the campiness of it. It's like an hour and a half. It's a great watch, not gonna lie. If anything, this video should inspire you to go watch it because I feel like watching it is a different experience. Like you see the campiness that's going on. Seeing the Twilight poster, genuine jump scare. Like I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, we cannot be doing that. It's one thing to make a Twilight ripoff. I think that's hilarious. Like, the whole copy of the I Know What You Are scene was in the trailer, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's why I watched this movie. That is so funny. To have, like, Twilight stuff in it is crazy. And so brave, and I love it. Unironically, I kind of love it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for other videos about random movies, and also for anything that's recapping shows from my memory. Go watch those videos because they're literally, like, they're more time-consuming than little ones like this. But I also love them. I think my Star Wars one is probably my best one. I love that video so much, but no one saw it. And of course, the last one I uploaded, Lab Arts video, great video. Took me forever to edit. So please give it the love it deserves because it's like 2 hours. It's a good watch. I'll give you that. And thank you for watching.